What's going on, guys? Today we are going to cover how to disassemble and clean a Glock style firearm. So the reason I say Glock style is because I have a Shadow Systems MR920. You can see empty and clear. Now the reason I say Glock style is because obviously this is not a Glock, it's a Shadow Systems, but they are very, very similar. So let's dive right in. All right, guys, so first we're going to need a few things. Obviously, we're going to need a firearm that is clear. I like to use Q-tips. We have a old rag, and then I'm actually using Modern Spartan Systems Carbon Destroyer. You can use almost any kind of cleaning agent. A lot of the times you don't even need them, but I'm going to use them because it's been a little while since I've cleaned this thing. All right, guys, so first let's go ahead and settle in, get on this pistol, and learn how to take it apart. All right, guys, so first thing that we're going to do is clear the firearm again. So I'm going to lock the slide to the rear, no magazine, no rounds, good to go. Next, I've already began taking off the thread protector just because that does take a little bit of time. So I've taken my thread protector off. Next thing I'm going to do is grab my takedown lever, which is here, and on the other side, I'm going to pull those down, pull my slide back a little bit, let my slide go forward, and then I'm going to pull the trigger. If you notice there, the slide jumped forward a little bit. Now I'm just going to slide it right off. So we have our frame, and then we have our slide. Next thing that we're going to do is remove the spring. So I'm going to press on the spring, making sure that I don't let it go flying. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to push up on the barrel, slide it forward, and then I can actually slide that barrel all the way out. And that's it, guys. Your firearm, your Glock, is now field stripped. All right, so for cleaning your barrel, what I like to do is get a Q-tip and begin to wipe out the inside of the barrel. As you can see, it's already starting to come off, but this carbon is pretty built up on there. So I'll sit there and keep working away at it. Really, it's just wherever you see. So being that this one is a bronze barrel, it's a little easier to see the black marks that were on it. But with a black barrel, you really just want to look at where it wears, where on the barrel it wears. That's a weird statement. But you want to see the little friction points and see where the slide's actually touching the barrel. Now, sometimes if the barrel is really having issues getting clean, what I'll do is I'll take a little bit of carbon destroyer, and I'll dip it just a little bit on my rag. Then I'll take my rag and begin wiping out the inside. So the reason that I don't put the carbon destroyer directly onto my barrel is because it's harder to control where the solvent is going. Sometimes it can be difficult because it'll end up going inside the barrel and going down the barrel, which is not necessarily what I'm wanting. I'm fine with getting it in there, but it's just a little easier for me to control here. So with my rag, as you can see, I've already gotten a good portion off. So the next thing I'm going to do is basically the same exact thing. I'm going to take my Q-tip and take my carbon destroyer, just get the tip of my Q-tip a little wet, and then I'm going to attack these edges that I can't get with my rag. All right, guys, so I've done some scraping and everything like that, and that's looking pretty good. So the next thing that we're going to go over is your slide. So on your slide, you want to flip it over to where you see the inside of it. And what I do is I usually take my rag and we'll just wipe out the inside like this, wipe off the face of it, your bolt face here, and then I'll use that same rag and wipe down as much as I can on these back rail portions here. Now, this is your drop safety for the firearm. And this is actually that's a detent that'll push up and allow the firing pin to come through. But with that being there, it makes it difficult for you to get in there. So you got to get a Q-tip, again, about here, get all this here. I actually will push that detent in and wipe it off just to make sure. And then the final thing that I do is I'll take my clean side of the Q-tip and I'll run it along the inside rail all the way down my slide. Then I'll flip it over, and as you can see, I got a good amount of carbon there. Then I'll do the same exact thing on this side. And now once I've done that, that's really about it for your slide. So the next thing, guys, is your frame. And again, there's not a whole lot, so I do the same exact thing. I take my rag, I just wipe down the inside of it. Understand that these components are going to move, and you don't want to be super rough with these components here in this portion. But they are going to move. You're going to have things moving around on you as you're in there. It's all right. It's not that big of a deal. And then you grab your Q-tip again. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to wipe off where the rails are on my slide. And now this isn't going to completely kill the gun or anything like that if you don't end up getting every nook and cranny. This is more just trying to get that slide to operate smoothly. And there you have it. All right, so now comes a very, very, very controversial topic. One, I don't bother cleaning my recoil spring and guide rod every time. I'll clean it every now and then, but then I do the same thing. I get my rag, I wipe it down, and that's it. So now we're gonna start the assembly process. So I'm gonna slide my barrel in. Your barrel always goes first. Take my guide rod and recoil spring, insert it in, making sure that it didn't completely come through. Now this is where everyone questions. Do you grease the slide? Do you oil it? What do you do? I know a lot of people that run guns dry, meaning they don't put any lubricant. And that's your personal preference. It's not gonna necessarily completely destroy your gun. If you completely do it and you do it over time, it could, and you never clean it. But that's just where care of equipment comes into play. I, on the other hand, have CLP here, or cleaning lubricant, and I don't like using a lot of it, so all I'm gonna do is get some of this on a Q-tip. Nothing crazy here. And all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it inside my rails here. Put it on my actual frame rails just to help it slide. And then once I've done that, I will reassemble, make sure everything works together. And then next I'm gonna do a functions check. So the functions check is I'm gonna, one, ensure it's clear. I'm gonna pull the trigger, hold it to the rear. I'm gonna rack my slide. I'm gonna release my trigger, and I should hear a metallic click. There it is, that's my trigger resetting. I pull the trigger again, I hear the hammer fall, and I'm good to go. All right guys, so we've gone over how to disassemble, clean, and reassemble your Glock style pistol. I hope this helped. Again, it's very nuanced. Some people say grease everything. Some people say run it dry. It's really up to you. Do your research, figure out what you want. Talk to your gunsmith at your gun store, gun shop, whatever, and have that conversation with them when you pick up that pistol. But as always, guys, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you drop a follow and a subscribe, or a like and subscribe, sorry. If you guys have recommendations for videos, please post them in the comments. If you have any feedback on this video, please let me know what I can do better. Thanks again, guys, for tuning in. And as always, stay safe out there.